Hey everybody, welcome to the video and welcome to eBay HQ. I was coming the opposite direction from the Goodwill on this day, and I decided to just quickly whip out the camera and get a shot of eBay. There it goes. But here we are, we're at Goodwill. There's going to be two Goodwills in this video. No recap at the end. I did shoot this video and I was, had a bout of a cold, I'm assuming, for a couple weeks, and then obviously we were in the holidays and we did a vacation, so I had to list those items. All those items got listed, so they're either sold or filed away right now. But there will be, I'll go over everything that you'll see here on the camera, and we'll have my commentary as usual. And the two Goodwill trips in this video are to the same Goodwill, so it'll look pretty similar. You might see some of the same items here on the shelf. But starting my rotation, or starting my in my route here through Goodwill, and I always have a specific route as I'm going through different Goodwills here in the area. This one here, I tend to, since they remodeled it, I will go through the toys first, work my way to the electronics over to the right, and check out keyboards and see what else they have in the electronics section. Come back around to the sporting goods and then proceed on through the glass and pottery and all the other stuff. However, they are moving things around again, so my route may change again. But as you guys go to the, Goodwills, flea markets, you're going to kind of learn, or you may just gravitate towards certain sections that you enjoy or you like, or that you specialize in. And a lot of the stuff that maybe you specialize in, that I specialize in, I enjoy. So that's where I gravitate towards first, and then fan my way out to other areas that I do have knowledge in, and try to make some profit, try to make some money on eBay. eBay or Poshmark, because we do sell on Poshmark as well too. I thought about firing up Etsy again, but not sure. I'm always on the lookout too as well. Even though I haven't had a Whatnot sale in a while, I am always on the lookout for items. For me, Whatnot has been more of a liquidation area for me.
Next one, are you?
And if I'm going to sell there again, I would need to find a big lot of just kind of similar items that I'd be able to put together a show on. Because it really helps. I mean, if you do sell on Whatnot, you will really need to kind of niche down to a certain category. Now, we're picking up this little, that's a succulent, artificial succulent inside a dinosaur, iridescent dinosaur. And succulents do incredibly well. Artificial snake plants do incredibly well. I recently sold, a few months ago, a whole bunch of vase filler, and some of the vase filler were just regular plain old foliage, but I got a bunch of succulent vase filler. And vase filler basically is, it's just kind of like loose leaves or pieces of the plant. It look like artificial pieces of plants, and you would just pile it into a nice clear vase or even a colored vase and use it as a centerpiece, either in your kitchen or dining area or in your living room. And all the succulent ones sold immediately. And I did price them up because I knew the succulents would go for a little bit more, and people would be willing to pay a little bit more for the succulents. So we made quite a bit on that. But here we are in the electronics section and appliance area. I'm going to check everything out here. And this Goodwill, they change. I mean, the Goodwills in our area really do change over. Not necessarily change over everything, but they restock continuously. If you saw my previous video, they were restocking at night. It was almost closing time and they were restocking. So coming on multiple days, the same week, you will see different stuff. This is a really good keyboard. I really like this keyboard here. It's a Logitech keyboard. It's very convenient to have on hand, especially if you're, you like me and you build computers, testing computers out. That one didn't have the dongle, and I don't know if it uses the Logitech unifying dongle, but you just plug it in, and you have a little wireless keyboard with a little mouse trackpad on it. I use one for my gaming computer, which I have set up in my living room on my TV. I don't actually game on it. I use a controller, but it helps in case I need to do any typing. Here's the lamp section. When I'm looking at the lamps, I'm really looking for primarily IKEA. Anything of value from IKEA, potentially. Vintage IKEA does really well. And any maybe interesting lamps. I don't really buy too many lamps, so it's really got to be something special in order for me to give it a second look, and then really be even more special for me to actually pick it up. But there could be lanterns here. I do buy and sell some older Coleman lanterns. I tend to look for the ones that have the Pyrex glass globe. Those ones do incredibly well. Now we're circling around over to the sporting goods section here, and I'm taking a look at the golf clubs. Looking to see if there's any Scotty Camerons in there. Any major names like Titleist or Ping. Haven't really come across any good golf club scores as of late. Nike's another one to definitely look out for. And this is where they shove all their bags. It can be a little overwhelming going through these bags. There's just so much just stacked there on the shelf. There was like a little empty styrofoam cooler. Now, baseball is coming up here. Spring training for Major League Baseball starts in February. A lot of other leagues will be starting up soon. So if you are into selling baseball equipment, definitely keep your eye out for it. This is a catcher's mask, the hockey style, and we're definitely gonna pick that up. It's an adult one. You could even pick up, kid sizes, because Little League is going to be starting up soon, and they'll definitely be looking for that equipment. I've never sold like batting helmets. Gloves do incredibly well. Baseballs, if you can get a bunch in a big lot, a reputable brand like Rawlings or something can do really well. I just sold some official Major League Baseballs just yesterday. They don't go for a crazy amount, and the ones I had were used, so I had two of them, put them together for $15, and they sold in about a couple days. Gloves. Baseball gloves, mitts. Not batting gloves, the mitts do incredibly well. Look out for Rawlings, look out for Wilson, Louisville Slugger, Mizuno. They will have model numbers, so definitely look up the model numbers. Some of them are better than others. Generally, the ones that are not made in China and the ones that are all leather will be your higher end ones. I did come across a Wilson, I believe it was an A5200, if I remember correctly, and those ones go for over $200. $250 brand new, and then you're looking probably about $100 to $150 used. So definitely keep your eye out. We're taking a look here now at the blue or cobalt glass. Nothing really here on the end caps today. As you can see, the plates over there, I'm not really into the plates, and the main reason why the plates, they don't sell very fast, and unusual dimensions, and I don't really carry boxes for those style, for that, for the dimensions of a plate. And plates are generally delicate, so you're gonna need a lot of wrapping material, and if they don't go for that much, it's not going to be worth it. I'm hunting the clear glass. I'm looking for anything signed. There's really in the wine glasses, some ones I have found pretty frequently are Riedel wine glasses. They will be etched Riedel, and they do command a bit of a premium. Each glass could be right around $10. If you get them in a set, it'll go for a little bit more. And at our Goodwills, the wine glasses are about $1.89. But I'm always on the lookout for decanters. I do collect decanters, so I'm always on the lookout for some cool decanters. I actually got a really cool one this past weekend. It was in the shape of a beaker, so it got that, chemistry vibe. I was huge into mathematics and science, and huge fan. I still keep up with the latest theories and everything in physics, in the physics world. This is a miscellaneous pottery glass section. This is where in this area is where I'd probably come across some Pyrex. I don't have any Pyrex in inventory right now, so I'm on the hunt for more Pyrex. I did see a Pyrex dish the other day, but I Google imaged the pattern because I don't remember all the patterns. But I Google imaged the pattern, and it just wasn't going to be worth it. So if you do come across Pyrex with a pattern, definitely use your Google image search and see what the pattern is, and it'll kind of tell you what the first of all what the name of the pattern is, and then you can go ahead and proceed and look it up on eBay to see what that pattern is currently going for. But Goodwills, I've noticed as of late, they are identifying Pyrex and pricing it up accordingly. Doesn't matter what the pattern is to them. It's just Pyrex, and that's it. Price $20 for a mixing bowl. But occasionally you will catch them from time to time where they'll be under, really got to be under $10 in my opinion for most Pyrex. Some will command a bit of a premium. Well, vintage style foam. That wasn't a vintage phone. A vintage style, vintage inspired, whatever you wish to call it. A little panda bear mug. I think the head of the panda bear was actually the handle. That was kind of interesting. But that little sculpture thing, I'm gonna put it back. I'm not buying that little sculpture. And purses, I'm being very picky on purses. It's really got to be a good brand, a good price, because I haven't been selling too many of them. Hopefully, with spring approaching, purses will start to sell more. But I'm slowing down my purchasing of purses. Wallets, I'm always okay buying wallets if it's a good price. This one right here, this is a Dooney & Burke, and I think it was only $8.59. So, and this was an Anthropologie brand. Really nice. It was a real nice, soft, it was a vegan leather. And most Anthropologie are vegan leather. And that was a real nice little tiny satchel style. And the Dooney & Burke, for the price, you can't beat it. I mean, I had to pick it up for $8 and something cents. But we're going to head back to the front. I'm going to check out the glass and just make a pass through over here. And then we're going to cut over to the next Goodwill. But I wanted to scan the glass really quick. Check out the shoes there. But we're going to cut over to the next day. And as you can see, we have some Fenton pieces here. The one in my hand there is the coin pattern or thumbprint pattern. I forget exactly the name. The other one there, man, it had a crack on the bottom. They were priced up. There's still some profit to be made, but they were priced up. We're not going to pick up the one with the crack. It just didn't. There were other ones without a crack that were selling for the profit range that we saw it. We could foresee it selling at, and it wasn't going to be worth it. Why buy one with a crack when you can find one without it? So we're going to leave that behind, even though it's a really nice piece. The other one we will pick up. Tiny little shot glass wine glasses, I guess. This is I think that was an Amazon speaker, which used, they're okay. I mean, some of the smaller ones, they're I mean, if you get them really cheap, but if you find them new and a decent price, you could still sell them for some pretty good profit. I've sold the Amazon tablets, the color ones, brand new, for some of the newer generations, I should say, for 40, 50, 60 bucks, depending on the size and how much storage it has. But when it comes to the Amazon tablets, you definitely want to look out for the readers. The readers, even used, do incredibly well. And those ones have the black and white or the e-ink display. But you got to be careful. I pick them up at the flea market, and I tend to get burned a lot because you'll plug them in and then they just won't work. So let's just continue on down the aisle here. These aisles, sometimes I feel like I'm missing stuff because these shelves are just so packed, and once I start digging through them, they're gonna start falling on me. I mean, I've done it before. I've gone back there and started digging around, and one thing falls, and all of a sudden something else falls, and then you just have a cascade of items just hitting the floor, and then you're having to clean things up, and that's kind of annoying. Got some keyboards here. These are some Apple keyboards, but these smaller Apple keyboards, you really got to get them for like $1 or $2. You can't pay really any more than that. They don't go for a crazy amount. But this gaming keyboard, on the other hand, Logitech, I'm going to check to see if it has a dongle. Again, some of these keyboards, they don't necessarily need to have a dongle, but if you're going to resell it, I would recommend making sure they have a dongle. It'll make it sell quicker. And so, definitely look out for Logitech, Microsoft, the Ergo keyboards, the corded ones, the USB ones do really well. Check the model numbers. Some of them do better than others. Generally, if it has more accessories, it'll do a lot better. More buttons and stuff, more programmable buttons. This is a CPU or a computer processor cooler. It is an OEM, or what comes with the actual processor when you buy it from the store. It was priced up a bit, and it wasn't, one of the better ones, so I left it behind. But we are seeing some boxes here of gaming stuff. Obviously, the gaming keyboard. Now I'm seeing a processor. A power supply. This is a graphics card. So now I'm thinking, oh man, what else is here? Is there any more computer components? Any more gaming components hanging around? The problem is, when you open the box, the odds of what was on the box actually being in there, very poor. This is not what it should be. It's some random brand, which I'm not familiar with. It is a graphics card. It's old. And so someone probably got a newer graphics card, put the old one in the box, and then the box got donated. The graphics card on the actual box isn't really... it's not one of the more modern ones, but it is a decent graphics card, and it would sell very, very well if it was actually in there, but it's not. So I'm going to keep it in my cart because I'm going to do a little investigative work and see what that card actually is. Just kind of checking these boxes here, seeing if anything got swapped out. Maybe something of value might be in there. That's a Mac Store hard drive, external hard drive. That's very old. I don't even know if that brand's around anymore. But here's some appliances, and sometimes they sneak some little electronics over here in this section that I want to definitely take a look at. Not interested in printers. I mean, there could be some good money in the printers, but they're just big. And I'm definitely going to talk about some shipping and sizes and weights at the end of this video. So if you guys are interested in any shipping talk, reseller shipping talk, stay tuned to the end. Miscellaneous little speakers. That's for, again, this mouse, for an Apple mouse, for $1 or $2, that would be a good pickup. But yeah, some people definitely prefer the wired peripherals, and by peripherals I mean keyboards, mice, because then you don't have to charge it up, you don't have to have batteries in it, you don't have to have dongles, and have to be Bluetooth or anything like that. You plug it in and you go. And you know, a lot of gamers, if you're in the competitive world of gaming, generally all your peripherals will be connected, because I mean, wireless has gotten to the point where it really does, it does incredibly well, and as far as the lag time, it's barely noticeable nowadays, if at all noticeable. But sometimes, you know, if it's wired, it gives you just a slight competitive edge over your competition if you are into that realm. Check out the little Snoopy guy in that cart. I don't know if you saw it in my cart there. Maybe I'll get another shot of it. But it's actually a Halloween piece that was out there, and I was like, you know, I couldn't. It was really cool. It's Snoopy inside an airplane. It's motion. It does have you know, it sings and it looks electronic, and the propeller spins and it says Happy Halloween. I couldn't pass it up. I'm gonna save it for next year. There it is, right there, and it'll probably end up in our own, you know, collection. It was that cool. Some of the pots and pans and mixing bowls. Maybe there's a KitchenAid bowl, like a replacement bowl in here, which if it's priced right can do, you know, the replacement bowls, like what do you call it, the bowls for the Instapots sell for about $15 or so. So if you can get it for a few bucks, it could do pretty well. And you know, it's a fairly easy shipper. You know, you wouldn't need a box for it. It wouldn't be that big of a box, but it's really not that breakable because it's all stainless steel. It could get bent out of shape, but just throw some packaging paper in there, you should be good. I'm gonna scope out the mugs. I haven't found any mugs that I collect, any Deneen mugs. Those are the ones I collect, preferably from a location. Haven't been seeing them around. I haven't been seeing any glassy babies. I was just talking to my wife. We have not seen some of those items that we were used to picking up and finding in our area. It's been on a drought for several months. No Deneen mugs and no glassy babies. Votive holders, candle holders. I don't know if Goodwill is picking them out and finding them and putting them online themselves, or they're definitely not at the Goodwill boutique, because we have a boutique here we scoped out, and there's really nothing good in the glass section at the boutique. Little teacup. I don't deal in teacups, really. Not really too much value there. I mean, there's some names to look out for, but most of the time, it's not worth your time. Ray Dunn. I definitely don't really pick up too much Ray Dunn. But these vintage light fixture glass covers, those can do pretty well. I had to Google image those because there was no identifying markings on them at all. So I Google imaged them, then I was able to look them up, and they should go for around somewhere between $40 to $60 for these guys. So just some cool vintage pieces here, vintage glass. And I'm wondering if these glass pieces also came from the person that donated the Fenton ones. I don't know. I actually got an interesting mug in the cart, and that mug actually sold. I believe, if I remember correctly, it had some sort of like sailing emblem on it. This is from TJ Maxx. This actually, once I saw the bottom, I recognized it, but it's a giant candle holder. Had a candle in it probably, but we do frequent TJ Maxx a lot, so we are pretty familiar with what comes from TJ Maxx, and so we know what to really pass up. And not that necessarily all TJ Maxx you have to pass up, because some of it is really good quality, but it tends to not sell very well or not for very good profit. And you could do some retail arbitrage at TJ Maxx, which I've done in the clothing. I've done it with mugs. I remember I found some great Lord of the Rings mugs that sold for around $30 each, and I got them for, I think they were on clearance for $3 something. Then I found some Project Rock Under Armour gear, sweaters, and t-shirts. Sweaters do better than the t-shirts, so I was able to pick those up at a good price, and I was able to flip them on eBay for profit, which is great. But I really don't do too much retail arbitrage. It's a totally different skill, and what you're paying for the items is a lot more, and your profit is not a lot less, but a little bit less. And I generally like to, I'm cheap. I like to buy them low. I like to buy as low as I possibly can. $1 or less, especially if I'm at the flea market. The Goodwill, I can't get away with that. More Christmas. Christmas is over by the time this video comes out. This video will be out in the new year. There's a bin full of stuff there, which I did glance at, and it really wasn't worth it. I mean, there could have been stuff hiding on the bottom, but from what I saw on top, really wasn't worth my time. But that's everything that we're going to take here, and we'll see you guys at the end of the video. Hey everyone, welcome to the end of the video. Like I said earlier, no recap here. All those items are filed away or they've been sold. So name of the game is list, especially, when I wasn't really feeling too good. Wasn't really feeling, like making the videos because I was either not feeling good or we were on vacation. So I got a list, still got a list every single day. That's what we do around here. But it's not a hard, I've gone days where I haven't listed, and sales have been fine. I've gone several days without listing, and you will start to notice a drop-off in sales if your store isn't active. So the name of the game is keeping your store active, keeping fresh inventory in your store. Really helps keep things moving. Now, what I wanted to talk about, though, is shipping. So a lot of people are either getting into this game, maybe New Year's resolutions, looking to make more money, or you're watching YouTube and suddenly these videos start popping up and you think, hey, let me give it a try. So besides some of the harder, I'm going to discuss shipping, which I think is one of the hardest parts of this gig and what I hear a lot of people talking about. And I watch a lot of people's lives, and some of the most questions, or a lot of questions, are about shipping. And besides, I should say, finding items that are profitable, getting your items safely to your customers. Now, I have a shipping channel down below. I haven't posted there recently, but there are several videos where I've just boxed items up. I've used bubble wrap. I use packaging paper, and of course, boxes and or polymailers. Most of the items I get will fit into polymailers. Now, these are a few of the polymailers that I use. First of all, we have this jumbo one here. I forget the exact measurements, but this size, I think it's 12 inches by 16 inches or 18 inches. It's pretty big. And I use this quite frequently, actually, for items that are brand new, boxed up, and can survive a trip in one of these. Obviously, if it's a larger glass item, you're not going to be able to put it in one of these because, you probably could bubble wrap it enough to make it safely. Generally, you would want to use a box. But most of the stuff I use will go in one of these. But the more common one I use are, excuse me, these Then I have a smaller one too, one that's kind of like, it's like a 4x6, because I do send out a lot of like Lego minifigures, a lot of pins and stuff like that will go in those littler sizes. I do have smaller sizes, but what I found with the littler you go, the more likelihood of it getting lost in the mail, it not getting scanned in. So I've had success with like something like this size. It's 4x6 is what it is. And these are bubble. So these ones here have bubble on the inside. So you get a little bit of extra packaging, padding. Use this for a lot of like mice and stuff like that. Kind of like stuff like this right here. I have this is a vintage computer mouse, rolling mouse here. And this would be something I would wrap it in bubble wrap still. Probably about a couple layers of bubble wrap, and then I would throw it into one of those bubble mailers. Now, for clothing or items that are not necessarily breakable, plush, will go in something like this. And this is just a poly mailer. This is a new one I ordered. I'm not really liking the... I don't know. I'm not really liking it, but it was cheap. So I said, I might as well give it a try. This is Amazon. These other ones here I order from Uline. So I do order a lot from Uline. Uline can be a little pricey, but it's so convenient. It gets dropped off the next day. You order it before 11 o'clock. It'll be here the next day for you, ready to go. But still, I mean, these things are well under $1. I think I have all these priced out. I mean, I think it's like 38 cents per each one. And the more you order, the better deal you get. So those are primarily what I use to ship most of my stuff out. Because I like the mouse. Even some glassware will be fine in there. Something like this. This is just a small paperweight. It's a small puck. With enough bubble wrap, you should be fine. Like 3 or 4 layers of bubble wrap on that. And you'll be perfectly fine sending this in a bubble mailer like that. Something bigger, like a mug, obviously. You run the risk, because mugs have handles, you'll run the risk of potentially breaking it, something like this. So you'll need a box. And it's up to you what kind of deals you can find as far as the box size. I have 6x6x6 boxes that these fit perfectly in, and it gives enough room for padding as well too. Got to think of the padding in the box as well too. So you can't just get a box exactly to this size, because it's going to be bouncing around in there, or once you wrap it up, it's not going to fit. So make sure you get a little bit bigger than the items you get a box a little bit bigger than the items that you're actually shipping out. But as far as packaging material, there are different ways to acquire packaging material. And you can do the route of going on to Craigslist, Facebook, and just looking for people just giving it away, especially if you're just starting out. But the more advanced you get, the more items you have shipping out, the more time it will save you just by ordering it and having it delivered straight to your door. Now, I usually look on Amazon, I look on Uline, and I try to get the best deal possible. Uline does charge shipping, so make sure to take that into consideration when you are ordering from them. I used to get my bubble wrap from Uline. So you're going to need bubble wrap. You're going to need some sort of a packaging filler. Be it packaging paper, or the pillow bags. I found the paper works the best as far as being able to conform it to different shapes and all that. The bubble wrap is okay, and I do use it. I'm sorry. Not the bubble wrap, the bubble mail. These things right here. Let me grab one really quick. These things right here. These little pillow things. And so typically I would use these for more like action figures that are already boxed up, and they're going to go in a box because you don't really want to damage the boxing, because collectors like perfect packaging material, or perfect. They like the box that it comes in to be perfect. You know, like those pop characters. So then I would throw one of these or 2 of these, depending on how much it takes to keep the item secure and prevent the box from getting crushed in shipping, because it will happen. So I do use some of these. I don't order these. I get these whenever I order boxes from Uline. They send like a bunch of these. They always put, like if I order a 6x6x6 box or the, my hat boxes, then I usually get them in a box. Whatever space is left over in the box will be filled up with all these, and I just keep these and use them from time to time. But mostly I use packaging paper, and I will get that from Uline. My bubble wrap, like I was saying, I was getting it from Uline, but then I found on Amazon for it to be a little bit cheaper, so I decided to go the Amazon route. The problem with the Amazon route is the shipping takes a little bit longer, so you have to make sure to take that in consideration. So bubble wrap, you'll need packaging paper. I use, like I said, I use primarily a lot of poly mailers for my little items. Bigger items will need boxes, so you're going to need to determine, how you're going to acquire your boxes and the size of box you need. So when I'm out there sourcing, I'm always thinking about what kind of a box is this item going to go in. I'm going to show you an item too that I picked up that I will need to get a box for. So if the profit is there in a larger item, I will invest in a box to ship it in. Because you don't see me picking up VCRs like a lot of people do. You don't see me picking up those DVD combos, audio receivers. They're huge, and the boxes you need are going to be huge, and the shipping cost is going to be big. Not that you're paying the shipping cost, but that's going to get added into the total. So when someone's looking on eBay, they're going to be looking at that thing, and they'll be like, oh man, it's going to be like $25 to ship. So, it may deter some buyers. Obviously, some people, they just want it, and they're going to pay it no matter what. But I prefer to really not have my shipping go over $20. Now, over the years I've been doing this, I have set sizes of boxes that I order on a regular basis. And that just comes from basically me out there sourcing, and I'm always sourcing kind of the same size shapes of items. Like, I got baseballs. These baseballs, these go with poly mailers. So, well, this one here, because it has a case, it is signed. This will probably go in a box. So I always tend to buy items that fit into these certain sizes that I regularly order. And you will find that too. You will eventually, as you are out there sourcing, you're not going to go out there and just be, well, I mean, if you're a storage locker buyer, you have no idea what you're going to get. But if you're just a picker and you're out there at the flea market, at Goodwill, you're going to gravitate towards things you like. Basically, that's what happens. I gravitate towards things I like. Technology stuff, electronics, toys. There's glassware. I mean, I'm into a lot of stuff, and I collect all kinds of stuff. So, those are the stuff I gravitate to, and they all tend to be around the same size. And so, over the years, I've just been like, hey, this is the type of box I need, so I'm just going to order a bunch of this size of box. I'm going to use them anyway. I'm going to order a bunch of these poly mailers, because that's the size I've been using all this time. So, hats. Hats are an interesting thing, because hats tend to... People get a little bent out of shape if their hat is bent out of shape. So, hats have to go in a box. I mean, there are some circumstances where a hat would not go in a box, and I would put in a poly mailer, and that's if it's just a floppy hat. If it just has no structure to it at all, I would throw it in a poly mailer. But most hats out there have some sort of a structure that you want to maintain. So you're going to need a box size, and the boxes I use are 9.75. Now, I could get a box a little bit smaller that would be a little bit cheaper to fit a hat. But the reason why I get 9.75 is because the box is versatile, and I can use it not just for hats, but I can use it for other items. And I've found over the years that size is useful not just for hats, but a lot of other items that I buy. And it's more cost effective for me to just purchase that one size, as opposed to having a separate size for our hat, a separate size for this, a separate size for that. So another thing you need to think of, is should I get a bunch of different sizes, or that I'll use here and there once in a while, they're just sitting around, or should I just get one size, maybe pay a little bit more, but yet I'm using it up? So that's one of the reasons why I get this large, just get this one jumbo large size, because it's very versatile and it fits a lot of stuff. Let me show you something I would put into something like this. And I wouldn't, so I have put collectibles, like collectible figures in these things, and I just wrap them in bubble wrap a few times and they get there safely. And the reason why I do that is because I've had boxes get completely crushed in shipping. Oh, I have one right here. This would be something I would send in a poly mailer. Just a little Lego set. It's not really a collectible Lego set, so I'm pretty sure I mean, you definitely want to try to get it there in the best shape possible. And what I found is wrapping this in bubble wrap about two times should be sufficient for something like this. Remember, this box also has a structure too, so you're kind of just, you know, if anything lands on it, the box should kind of support it, and then you add some bubble wrap around it to really enhance that support. Then I would throw it into something like this. It also depends on the distance as well too. I just shipped something out that I would typically send in one of these, but it was going overseas, so I was like, it's going overseas. That's good. You know, there's going to be a lot of shifting around, and I still, nonetheless, I mean, when you ship something international on eBay. Right now, eBay will handle any returns. If anything gets broken, they'll take care of it for you, no questions asked. Keep your money. But I still want the customer to get the item safe. So I threw it in one of these, just a little bit more structure, a little bit more, you know, rigidity, a little bit more protection for that item going overseas. And so something like this, you know, you could, if it was going across the country, I'd probably throw it in one of these. If it was something going local, you know, within my own state or in a few states away, I'd probably wrap it 3 times in bubble wrap and put it in. It probably wouldn't fit in this one, but a little bit bigger size. I have a little bit bigger size than this. And I'll put it in one of these and send it on its way. If it was a collectible, I would put it inside something with a little bit more structure and a little bit more protection. And then if it's really valuable, and then I would package it in packaging paper and put it in a box to make sure it gets over there safely. So you really have to take that into consideration. If something's valuable and you're shipping it out to somebody, you know, they're going to expect a certain type of, they're going to expect it to arrive in a certain type of way. So like, you know, I sell some pretty high-end purses from time to time, a couple $100, Coach purses. I sent out a $700 Coach purse several weeks ago, and it was just, you know, a leather purse. And some purses I just throw in a poly mailer because they're not going to break. But it was a Coach purse. It was a small one too, and you know, I took the time to really box it up. It didn't really need much, but I put the box in there, wrapped it in packaging paper, nice and neat, so that way the customer gets a good experience when they're opening the box. And they're spending several hundreds of dollars on something, so they're going to expect a good packaging job. So, let me go ahead and show you this item I picked up that I am going to need a box for. So give me 1 second. Okay, I grabbed the item here. 2 other pieces of equipment you'll need: a scale and a measuring tape. I have measuring tapes all the time. I always lose them. So I got this big old one. I usually have a small one, but I can't find it right now. So I have this large measuring tape. So measuring tape and a scale. Now this is the item I recently picked up, and I'm going to walk you through my thought process on it. Because it's not the size is not something I would typically get. But it's a Zuka. Let me try to scoot back here. So it's just a rolly cart here. So there's the wheels there, lights up. So we saw this at Goodwill, and first off, we noticed the name. It's Zuka. So Zuka's a good name to look out for. I mean, you can pretty much use it for anything, but I think it's more geared towards skating or ice skating. There's stuff in here. There might be some money in here. I think we didn't check all the pockets yet. So we saw this in a bin. Saw the price. It's right on top. $11.89. You guys can see that. What does it go for? It could go for up to $120. So we're like, man, that's a pretty good profit margin, and I'm willing to take a chance on this item. Now, if this was something of this size and glass, I might take a pass on that because that is huge. But this has a solid steel frame. I mean, this is pretty. Even the wheels are very solid. And if I were to ship this out, this could probably survive quite a bit before it ends up getting damaged. So I definitely think it would survive a trip on USPS. Now, because of the size, it is going to cost quite a bit to ship this out. Now, as far as the cost of shipping goes, pass that along to the buyer. I do not recommend doing free shipping. I recommend doing calculated shipping. A lot of people use a flat rate shipping cost, and I understand why people do it. It makes it easier when you're creating listings. It's also, it could be beneficial to buyers because if someone, let's say, is where I'm at in California and you're shipping over to Florida across the country, an item, something like this, if I had to guess, it'd probably be somewhere around 30 something, maybe 25, 30 bucks to ship this out. Now, that's probably going to turn off a lot of buyers. So if I were to do a flat rate, and I know a lot of people do a flat rate around somewhere between $15 to $18. And they're willing to lose some money on shipping large items, but then they'll charge a higher flat rate for smaller items. So something like, this is just right here, but they would charge something like $6 or $7 to ship this out flat rate. Now, this is not going to cost $6 or $7. It's not going to cost me $6 or $7 to ship this out. It's going to cost me about. And the reason why I say it cost me is because when a buyer pays, they pay that shipping to you, and then you proceed to then buy the label. So something like this is going to cost like right around probably about $4 or so. It probably costs about $4 ground advantage shipping, which is the best rate is ground advantage. So it'd be right around $4 to ship that out, and that would probably be anywhere in the country. I'd be able to ship that out for about that, right around $4. And some people will charge a flat rate of, I think it's $6.50 is the maximum under 1 pound. So if it's under 1 pound, then the maximum that it could potentially cost you, shipping within the U.S., will be about $6.50. That's the maximum it'll cost you. So if they're charging a flat rate of $6.50, it's only going to cost us about $4. So you're making about a couple bucks on shipping, which is okay, and it does help to offset the cost of all your shipping supplies. And you should offset the cost of your shipping supplies. I tend to do that because I buy stuff so cheaply, so low, is that I tend to think of the shipping cost when I'm buying the item. It's already in my head, and I'm already adding it up as I'm purchasing these items. Now, my method of shipping, or the way I choose to ship, does leave a little bit of making money, a little bit of room to make money in the shipping, in the buying of the label. So I do what I call a flat weight. So if anything is under 5 ounces total, now that includes the shipping supply, that includes the bubble wrap, that includes any packaging paper, the bubble mailer. So if it's going to be under 5 pounds, I automatically just put a flat 10 ounces on the item. I'm not making a crazy amount, maybe about $1 on the overall cost. If anything is going to be under or going to be over that 5 ounces, again, including the shipping, including all the shipping supplies, but yet under or right at 12 ounces, under 13 ounces. It has to be under 13 ounces, because if it's 12.1 or 12.2, then you have to round up to 13. So it has to be at 12 ounces. I will automatically set 13 ounces. Now, 13 ounces and 15 ounces, there's no difference in cost. It's already the highest cost possible, under a pound. So I'll set it to 13 ounces. And then again, I'll make a little bit, like $1, $1.50, which will kind of help offset the cost of the shipping supplies that I used. But again, I'm already as I'm buying items, I'm already thinking about how much it's going to cost to ship me, and that includes the bubble wrap, the packaging paper, the bubble wrap. For me, like 1 foot of bubble wrap is, I think it's about 6 cents. It cost me about 6 cents for 1 foot, for me to wrap something in 1 foot of bubble wrap. Packaging paper is way less than that, so it's barely a blip on the cost. So I really don't take that into consideration. And it takes I buy big old bundles of bubble wrap. I buy big old bundles of bubble wrap, but I also buy a big box of packaging paper, so it lasts me quite a while. So I don't really even think about that. I think about the bubble wrap, and I think about the box and or the poly mailer that it's going to go in. So I do a flat rate. And then once you get over a pound, it gets a little bit easier because every pound you have to, or every, so if you get to 1 pound, once you go over that 1 pound, like one pound, 1 ounce, you automatically have to round it to 2 pounds. So that's going to be right around $9.88, no matter what. So if it's 1 pound, 8 ounces, $9.88. 1 pound, 15 ounces, $9.88. Again, remember, that includes the box and the packaging paper and the bubble wrap. So all that weight together. Then once you get over 2 pounds, if it's 2 pounds and 8 ounces, you have to round up to 3. And I think that's $11. I think it's around $11 or so. So it gets a little bit easier because if your item is 1 pound, 1 ounce, then you have a whole 15 ounces to either just really pack it in really good or get a nice sturdy box. So it makes it a little bit easier as far as you're packing your item. Now, things really start to get interesting when you talk about the dimensions of the box. So what I consider baseline, or what I always put in for all my items that aren't a weird size, is 12, even the tiny little items, I put 12 inches by 10 inches by 10 inches in there automatically. And everything, most of the stuff will fit within those dimensions. And the price will not fluctuate within those dimensions. Even 14 by 10 by 10 is fine. 14 by 11 by 10. And I go by length, width, height. Now, once you start going into the 16, if one of your dimensions goes into 16, then there's changes in the price. Then once you go 16, then you start to go 12 inches in width. Then the price starts to go up, starts to creep up. So make sure to take that into consideration. Sometimes you can get away with a lower shipping price if it's got a really big width. So like a keyboard or something, like a keyboard like this. My keyboard. Oh, right here. So you got a long keyboard here. And I buy boxes and I have packaging specifically for keyboards. So we got just about 17 inches on this keyboard. Once I wrap it, my camera's getting too white, or it's picking up the white. I've got to figure something out about the white. I know I keep saying that. So once I start wrapping it, it's going to be about 18 inches for this guy. So 18 inches in width. That's really going to increase the cost of the shipping. However, look how slim it is, though. It's very slim. This is less than 5 inches. Once you put packaging paper, it'll be like 6 inches. So the length would be something like 8 inches. For the sake of this argument, let's just say this is a big keyboard, like 10 inches or 12 inches. So let's just say it's a 12-inch keyboard. So we have 18 by 12 inches width. But then the height can really, help you get a lower shipping cost. And I keep saying help you get a lower shipping cost because the lower the shipping cost, the lower the overall price, the likelihood of getting a sale because it's a lower price. So the height will really make a difference in the cost if you can get it under 10 inches. 9 inches won't make a difference. 8 inches, it'll start to lower the price. 6 inches, so if you have something that's 18 inches, 12 inches, 6 inches in height, which obviously this is way less than 6 inches, then you're going to get the lowest possible cost for those dimensions. So you got to play around with it a little bit. I highly recommend, if you do have something that's a weird length, or something that's like 20 inches by 10 or 12 inches, but yet it's really slim, like a lot of board games, try to get boxes or shape your boxes so that way you can get the height down. And then once you get the height down, the shipping costs will drop all of a sudden. And you should, ahead of time, already be pre-calculating all this information. eBay does give you a good estimate when you're inputting all this information, creating your listing. It'll give you an estimate of what it potentially could cost. So play around with it. It takes some getting used to. Trust me, it's not going to be easy. And you're going to make mistakes. Hopefully you don't make any large mistakes that will cost you quite a bit of money. But it's going to happen. It's going to take some time to get used to. But just some, that's just some, something to think about is play around with the dimensions. I highly recommend having set sizes of boxes around so that way you can ship items out. If you're out there just searching for boxes, you're going to have a little bit more. Like, I do keep some boxes, random boxes, just in case. Something like this box here. So this is that's not my address, so don't worry. I didn't dox myself. It's somebody else's. I doxed somebody else. But here's here's just a random box I'm keeping on hand. But if I need to, I will cut this down to shape it to what I need. So definitely keep boxes around just in case. You never know if you might need them. Even if you're buying your own boxes, I still keep random boxes of unusual shape and size. So something like this, like if I had to cut this down, if I was to put my keyboard in here, okay, this size of box, this is going to be crazy. This would be, because of its overall height, this would be something like wild, like $25 to ship it out. But if I need to cut it down to 18, this has a good, it's about 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches, and you put 18 inches, I could probably get that down to like $11 or something like that. So it'll help you sell your items if you can get the overall price down. And then hopefully you can make a little bit of money on the shipping. Because I see some people, it's not really necessarily baffling to me, but because I've been there, when I was first learning to ship stuff out, and where you just totally miss the dimensions and you end up way overcharging for shipping. Let me get another battery. Hold on. There we go. We're back. And like I said, I've way overcharged people for shipping. And I've way undercharged for shipping too. And then I've had to eat some costs. So it does happen. Don't worry about it. It's a learning experience. And hopefully you don't lose too much. Obviously, if you're overcharged, you made quite a bit. So pass that along, as they say. When you're in line at a Starbucks or something, then you pay it forward. That's what it is. Pay it forward, I hope. But and I've also, I've overpaid myself when I just bought some stuff recently. I know I overpaid for shipping because I ship stuff out all the time, so I know what it costs. But as a buyer, if a buyer buys it for that price, they're agreeing to the shipping charge, and they're willing to pay that shipping charge. But as a seller, we should try to it's not unethical or anything like that. Like I was saying, if they agree to it, they agree to it. They don't have to agree to the shipping charge. They can ask for something lower, too, if they would like to. But it'll help move items. As a seller, you want to be in the best competitive position to sell your items. Especially things like clothes. Especially, what's another very... there's shoes. Shoes are incredibly competitive. So if lowering your shipping cost can help you be competitive by lowering the overall cost of the item. Obviously, you're not going to beat a free shipping guy. That'd be person. That would be incredibly difficult. But most free shipping people, and you can't get away with free shipping if, in my opinion, you build that shipping cost into the price of the item. So your item may appear a little bit more expensive, but the overall cost will be a lot less because, or could be a lot less because you're building that shipping into the cost of the item. Could be. Could not be as well too, because you could be charging exactly what the shipping would cost. There's some, psychological stuff that can play into that. I don't do that. Okay, but so this item here, excuse me, like I was saying, rolly cart, there's incredibly good profit in this item. So I actually have a box. I was looking around for a box. I actually have a box that would fit this. This would survive the shipping. The dimensions on this thing are, what do we got here? 80, oh wait, I'm looking at it upside down. It's actually not that tall. It's just a smidge over 18 inches. So 19 inches. The width, so this will cost quite a bit to ship out, is just over 13, so we're looking at 14 inches there. And then we got the height, the width. No. We got the height, the width, and then the length would be, the length's actually just like right at 10. Well, the wheels will probably throw it off because the wheels kind of stick out a little bit. So we're probably looking at about 12 inches. So we have a fairly large item from a dimension standpoint. From a weight standpoint, it's actually not really even that heavy. This is probably about 4 to 5 pounds or so. So what I would do is I would get a box. You got to have a little bit of room for packaging material. This thing's pretty solid, so I don't think anything would happen to it. I personally would still wrap it. So you're going to look for a box that's at least 20 inches. So it's just over 18. So about 19, we'd round up to 19, and we would go 20 inches on a as far as the height of the box. We're going to go 20 inches the height of the box. We got to take into account whatever packaging material we're going to put in there. As far as the width of the item, we are looking at, like I said, just over 12, 13 ounce, 13. You know what? It's actually a little bit bigger on the, that's kind of weird. 13, 14. So we're looking about, it's a little over 13 inches in width. So I would probably say about 15 inches for that. So we're looking at 20 by 15. And then we're not going to, this is not, there's no way this is below 10, that we're going to be able to get this under, get the overall box, the box size, whichever way you shape your box. Let me just grab a box for comparison here. We're not going to get this box, this measurement on the box. We're not going to get this under 8 inches. So it's gonna cost quite a bit to ship it out. But I think the item is pretty desirable. There's a I mean, if you're on the sell-through rate, there's an incredible sell-through rate on this. But there's a lot of customers, and there's not that many sellers on there. So of this item. So we're looking about 11 inches. I would probably say about 13 inches to account for packaging material for this item. So we're looking at a fairly large item. It's going to definitely, based on the weight and the dimensions, we're looking probably somewhere around the $20-ish range, $25 to ship this out. Probably, if I had to guess, it'd probably be, if it's going out somewhere out to Florida, it's probably going to be like a $28 ship. I don't want my words to be mistaken, but shipping the item will cost about probably about $28 for this guy, just based on the dimensions and the weight. If it was 12 inches by 10 inches by 10 inches, I'd only have to worry about the weight. I wouldn't have to worry about the dimensions because you don't have to. But now we're talking some crazy dimensions. We're worrying about them, and we're worrying about the weight. But first of all, shipping this item, I already have a box that can fit this item. It's a solid steel item, has a solid steel frame. It's going to go for hopefully close to $120. We only paid $11.89. If this was like $50, I probably would have Definitely held it in my cart at Goodwill. I rolled around with it for a while, thought about it, unsure. Can I use it? But for $11, we're going to make, probably like 70 plus, 80 plus dollars on it, depending on what it ultimately goes for, because I will have offers open. We're going to make incredible profit on this item. It's a great item. There's a lot that are sold. There's not that many listed currently right now, so that's a good scenario to be in. That's my thought process on this item and why I would go for something that's a bit larger. Rock solid item. It's, I already have a box for it. I already know I have a box for it. Excuse me. It's an item that is highly desirable. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Highly desirable item. And what else? It stores rather easily. It doesn't take up that much space. So, otherwise, that's the end of the video, guys. If you guys have any questions about shipping, definitely drop it down below. My Instagram will be down there as well, too. My shipping channel is down there as well. I do have videos of boxing items up. I try to do complex items. I think I have a lantern down there in a video down there as well, too. So, vintage Coleman lantern. But I appreciate all the new subscribers. If you like this content, please hit the subscribe button. I appreciate that. And the like. Appreciate the likes. And if you want notifications, hit the bell down below. But we'll see you guys in the next video.